All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, post Traders Talk edition, as is every Tuesday here in the Cyber Group Trading Room. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Great to see all of us live. Joining us, Leda, Taz, Bonnie, Renzo, I said Bonnie before, Wendy, Kath, John, Bill. Great to see you all, and of course Grant. All right, great. So, and along with everyone here, just I would like to welcome on back all of us joining us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. So with that in mind, actually, our first stock here we'll look at is Uber. It's not like making the sharpest move up right now, but the reason we're looking at it, well, the man himself, Fausto, just called it out going into the afternoon. It was breaking an all-time high. So with that, we can look on the daily chart here. Uber over the last couple of days breaking its previous all-time high of right around 60.03. So ended up doing that heading into the early afternoon. I just came back. I was in the office in Syosset just before. I'm back in my home office right now. I was getting a couple of small errands in the way done. I haven't looked at Uber. I wanted to take a look at the news here to begin, see if there's any news at all. Really early in pre-market this morning at like 5 in the morning. I know that KeyBank ended up raising their price target to 63. It probably got some airtime underway on CNBC. It looks like that's the case. Josh Brown on CNBC highlights buys in Simon Property, Uber, etc. So I think that's the reason as to why this ended up making the pop. That seems to be right at 12:13 Eastern time when the news report came out. Pretty much right there. All right, so that makes sense at least. All right, cool. So for the afternoon, I'll put Uber just on the side for right now after Fausto called it out like a couple minutes after, maybe jinxed it, but ended up driving back down a bit for the meantime. It looked strong when he called it out. Hopefully it will make a higher low, move back up into the afternoon. But if it's not Uber that we end up making money on heading into the afternoon, it's got to be one of these here from the morning, right? We did so well from earlier today. There are still stocks from the morning that are moving very well. So, of course, I'd be remiss to not begin with Riot here. So, Riot, Mara, the Bitcoin stocks, I mean, these two in particular just blew the roof off. Shortly after the market opened, broke above 36. And at the time, I was like saying, of course, be careful. We're going to take it level by level here. Of course, pretty much every whole number is going to provide as a larger iceberg level. But there is a much bigger iceberg ahead, and it was at $40. It took a few, hours, a couple hours, I'd say, for it to really cleanly break above 40. But after that, and again, you're going to see smaller, smaller icebergs. Pretty much every whole number, like 42, there's going to be one. But the next bigger one ahead, I saw on Bookmap level 4 just a moment ago. Yeah, it's still there at $48. There's a 110,000 share order on the ask. Does that mean Riot's going to go up to 48 today? Not necessarily. At this point right now, unless if it could break above 42 cleanly, it's going nowhere. So keep a good eye on Bitcoin, keep a good eye on Riot, of course, at this 42. If it could break higher and we see more buying off the 42, then I'd, of course, hope to see it make a closer run. I mean, again, every whole number, you got to expect to see a larger order to a degree, but the bigger one ahead is all the way above at 48. All right, so Riot will definitely put on our main watch list right now for the afternoon. Still really strong near its highs for the close. I'd only assume the same to be said for Mara. Honestly, not as close to its highs, technically making a lower high as of right now. Riot looks more coiled up, kind of, waiting to make that big breakout. So with Mara making a lower high, does that mean that Riot's not going to break out at all? So they move pretty well similarly, so that's where I say keep a good eye on Bitcoin, the price that is heading into the final hour of the day. If you happen to see a sharper pop up over a small period of time, then you definitely have to anticipate the Riot and Mara will make a similar move. All right, so we ended up doing well on the blockchain stocks, and of course, the other sector that we killed it on today, the pot stocks. So we ended up seeing Tilray. We ended up seeing the SNDL, a real cheap stock, dollar stock. That's probably the biggest percent move out of these so far. But the Tilray trade, SNDL, we ended up seeing OGI from this morning, ended up making a big run up. That's not one that we've frequently have traded. So we'll jump to that OGI. That made a fantastic move up earlier today. Broke above 370, took off right from there. I mean, blasted right through 4, moved up eventually to a high of the day, right off 5, 497 that is. It seems pretty flat for right now. I'm just going to look at MJ, the pot stock, pot ETF, we'll call it, pot sector ETF. So pretty flat in its own right, but ended up making a very strong move from earlier today. So that's where I say you have to expect the others, or like the stocks within the sector, to make a very similar move with it, right? It's like almost like in the case of using trading Riot and Mara, it's almost as if we're using Bitcoin as the ETF for it. There's no real live feed ETF. There's GBTC, but I believe that's delayed data OTC stock, or that's over the counter. So there's no like NASDAQ listed, NYSE listed ETF for Bitcoin. It's almost like we're using Bitcoin as that ETF to kind of follow and trade Riot and Mara. So that's what I'm saying with MJ. That's how we ended up doing well on Tilray. We ended up doing well on the OGI trade, Kronos trade. Oops, wrong keys on my keyboard here. There we go. ACB was pretty choppy. The AFA trade seems pretty tied similarly with Tilray, with the news of them merging together. So expect that to be more relevant over the next month or so. But AFA ended up making a very sharp move, similar with Tilray today. All right, so definitely keep all of these stocks on your side list. That means that we're not really going to trade them for this afternoon, unless if we end up seeing them pop up on our radar, our scanners again. But when I say side list, I mean really for the remainder of the week. Today is only Tuesday, so we have tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. There's plenty of game left on these trades. I mean, for as much as they've run up over the last 2 days back to back, it wouldn't shock me if they pull back. And then maybe later on Thursday, or maybe even Wednesday afternoon tomorrow, that is, and see them run back up. Who knows? But given the volatility, that's where I say definitely keep these in mind going forward. All right, so with that, we had plenty of others. The AUVI was crazy all over the place, still up 472% or so, right? So I personally stayed away from this one. We didn't really even discuss this one as much in Traders Talk from this morning. It's one that where we did go over discussing halts and trading a stock as it's being halted or coming off a halt. So it's just to say that when a stock gets halted on the way down, typically it will reopen a lot lower compared to when a stock reopens as it gets halted on the way up. That was a mouthful, so I hope that made sense. Just look at the gaps here, you could see, right? You don't want to get caught in that. So, for as much as it dumped off, surprisingly, there is more life left on this run. So that's unexpected. Typically, after a stock gets halted on the way down and it reopens up lower and all of that, that's usually the end of the run. This got halted on the way down probably as often as it did on the way up. It probably got halted like 10 times total today. You can see a couple of these just here. So don't get me wrong, it's up big for anyone that was in from before, anyone that's still in from a lower price. You're killing it. So congrats. But, I'm not looking to trade a stock like this heading into the afternoon. One of our members on YouTube right now, P Trader, saying the order book is empty on many levels for the AUVI. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more there. So, you know what? Let's try and find stocks that are, very active like this, but have a more liquid order book, a tighter spread, easier to read. You think this is easy to read looking at the order book? So that's the reason why I say let's move away from a stock like this for right now. Probably say the same with this KALV stock too. Ended up making a big push from earlier this morning. It dumped all the way back down. Actually, I'm going to zoom out. You'll see. This is like the second win that it's having right here. So from pre-market popped early, but this looks like a disaster. I mean, steady trend off the lows, I reckon, here. But outside of that, there's nothing really appealing about this trade. The CHCI, for as much as this was up in pre-market, you had to have expected this to pull back after the market opened. It popped right away. So we know what happens that, should that be the case there, typically for a stock that's up the 300 or 200%, even less. I mean, 100% like this is right now. But, a stock up that much heading into the market open, it's going to pull back. If it pops right out of the gate like this did, I swear to you, it's going to pull back. That's just what happens 99% of the time here. So does it end up, dumping off like this? Oftentimes, yes. There are some that end up holding and then breaking out later on, but that's why I would never look to hold into the open for a stock like this. And then afterwards, just once it breaks support, odds are, unless it's breaking right back above that same level in like 30 seconds, it's just going to be a dump. So that's that on the CHCI trade. This one's like a warrant here. Green Vision Acquisition Corp. We had a few of these SPACs take off earlier today. We had GRNW regular. I saw Rich call out GRNW. Is this not coming up as a symbol right now? GRNV. I'm sorry. Geez, GRNV. I was looking at the 5-minute chart there. The N looked like a W, or something like the V looked like a W. So this does not look too good right now as a day trade for the afternoon. But with the warrants up as much as it was, I wanted to look in just to see what the actual equity was doing. The CCIV is another SPAC. This one took off a little bit earlier, heading into the late morning, early afternoon. You could see, I mean, it was down big in pre-market, so it continued after the market opened. But you could see, as at least heading into the afternoon, I saw Rich call it out, broke a new high, moved up nicely. I just wanted to look in with that, or check in with that, with the other up as much as it was. This Mogo trade was killing it just before. Going into the afternoon, I personally I had a wonky day today, so I'm not going to dig too much into that myself for you folks. But long story short, I wasn't really in the mood to trade, at least going into like 1:30, 2 o'clock. I literally was just running around doing errands, just outside of trading. So I come back, and a couple of us were looking at this Mogo stock. Obviously, I missed the big move from earlier this morning, but going into the afternoon, right off 11, I was looking at the volume spikes here. One of our students, John, was talking about this trade, and I was saying, let's see if it could break above 11 again. And first time it moved back above 11, a pop and drop, no surprise. That's expected. But I was saying, let's just see if it could re-break above 11. A very shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. I told you folks I wasn't like really in the zone, the mood to trade heading into this early afternoon time slot. So I passed on it. I shouldn't have. This ended up making the exact pop that we would have hoped for here. Popped right from 11 here up towards just about the highs. I mean, really a pop and drop at first, but still kind of strong near those highs for the afternoon. So I'll put this Mogo on our list here for the close. All right, so this one looks pretty good. Spread's opening up a little bit, but liquidity a lot better than some of the others. This EFO, not much going on there. LEDS, I saw it make like a crazy move up and down before. It got halted on the way up. I don't know if it got halted on the way down. We're just look at it really quick. Oh, yeah, it did. Jeez, I was looking at the 5-minute chart. It looked like it got halted once on the way up, but man, this is not the type of stock that you want to be in. So, yeah, this one definitely going to pass for the afternoon. Typically, folks, if you happen to see a stock like this make this type of move where it gets halted as many times as it did, probably just, probably continue to trade the same way should we see like similar momentum the following day, the following couple of days later. So that's not the type of stock you want to be in. If you see it do it once, just stay away from it going forward. Oh, man, where's the Veru trade? Pretty flat right now, trading in a tighter range, rightfully so. I mean, this stock exploded earlier, too. It was up over 50%. I mean, it's up 47.5 right now, but took off up all the way towards 24.50 and above, pulled back down. So again, great stock to keep on your side list. We probably said that at the end of last week, and look what happened today. So, I know a few of us caught this early and often and did really well in this trade. So congratulations from the morning, at least for this point for the afternoon. We're not really going to, I wouldn't expect too much out of it, at least. If it ends up making, a higher high off 22 or breaking over 21 even first, then I'll be interested. Just to look at it, but we'll see if there's anything looking a little bit sharper for the close. GSAT looking sharper, at least just before, kind of dumped off right off 2 there in a tighter range right now. Kind of sideless material for the meantime here. I'm just going to check back in with it probably at the end. All right, we'll kind of just skim through here, folks. You got the HTBX still dumping back down right now. This would have been just a no-go anyway. It is shortable, so if this ends up continuing to drop off, that would make for a really nice potential gap fill here. I wouldn't expect it to fill the gap completely, of course, but it's still kind of tradable. But after such a big move up earlier today, and then it pulled back, made most of the drop off from the morning. Although it's tradable, I just wouldn't want to really follow this going forward. Again, if it pops up on our radar, we do a little bit more scanning around 3:15, 3:30 Eastern time. Maybe I'll jump back to it as I'm flipping through. But just to start the afternoon off here, I'm not going to really focus on that. All right, we'll keep it going. We'll just kind of skim through here, see what else we got. The pot stocks we went over before. Glue, I thought, was a buyout. Oh, the SNDL I'll show pretty quickly, at least. Pot stock, Sundial. But, this was from our pre-market watch list, I think, or if not pre-market, then the main morning watch list. But, man, this ended up making a big pop up with the pot stocks as well. Ended up pushing up all the way to a high of 175. This is the type of stock. This is extreme volume. So you wouldn't necessarily look for a stock that has as much volume as this, but this is as level 1 as it gets. Comparing the, AUVI stock with this, it's like extreme left, extreme right, like, level 1, level 5. Our Riot trade kind of slipping under 41 for right now. Still on our watch list for the meantime here. It is making that kind of drop off that Marrow is making more evidently just before when we were looking at them. Damn, I'll tell you, number 50 on the gainers list is up, is at 22% still? Are you kidding me? All right, folks, so I need your help. How about that? I need a lot of team effort here. So if there's any stocks that you see that look great, let me know. If it looks so-so, don't call it out. But, there's so much that's up with this market heading into the afternoon. That's where I'll say if there's anything that's up like, 10% or more, if it looks great, let me know. All right, we'll look on the losers list here first with the market up as much as it is. I wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot on the losers end that looks great, but OCGN shortable still dropped off from this morning, expectedly so, and pulling back down right now. It still looks pretty tradable, kind of in line with that HTBX stock. I can add this to the list if I wanted to, but the AMC stock here after the morning dropped off down towards 526 and pushing back up here a bit. I still have this on my side list. Don't get me wrong. For as big of a range as you've seen here on the daily chart, you have to expect some squeeze up again at some point in time. Does that mean this is going to, squeeze up today? No. So this might drop down to 4 before it ends up making that squeeze, or 350. Just to see this type of range, you never want to forget that. That's like the most historic short squeeze that we've ever seen. I mean, this GameStop, GameStop a lot more expensive, less volume on the order book. This is like right up there. So, you just want to check in with the stock every morning. I did. I didn't trade it. It dropped off down right away. It actually would have been a great short if you had the shares. I think TradeStation does. I just didn't take it myself. But at least for right now, for the afternoon, not as much going on just yet. All right, I think that just about does it, though. I'm just really skimming through here on the losers end. Not much that looks like a familiar name. IRDM. This one doesn't look too bad on the chart. Obviously, at the lows right now, spreads are kind of tight. The order book is kind of thin in terms of like the size of the orders that you happen to see, but it's consistent. There's orders at pretty much every price level on the bid, decent amount on the ask. If it was cheaper, I'd be a lot more keen to just put this on. All right, here from John on YouTube, he's asking just, hey, what's the deal with the AUVI? Why was it up as much as it was? So I did not copy and paste the news for AUVI. Let's just check in with that. I don't mind doing that here. Give me a quick sec. Just want to get the facts straight here. All right, we'll copy and paste here for the trading room first, and then for all of us on social media, I'll just copy and paste for you folks there as well, really quick. So that's the news on AUVI there, John. Stock up 450% still at this point in the day, but just copy and paste there. It's on the YouTube stream. All right, Marcel's calling out Blink here in the trading room. That's a great call. Right away, it's pretty expensive, more volatile, definitely more level 4 to 5. But we were calling this out earlier when it was testing or teasing around 60 there. It's not looking as sharp just yet, but it's still near the high. So I like that. I'll slip this on our list, just provided you're a more level 3 to 5 trader. If you're level 3, if you consider yourself level 3, then trade it just on smaller shares. If you're level 4 and 5, you know who you are. So, that's where I'll say it looks pretty good for the more advanced crowd out there. I like Neo more, honestly. This is making a much better move right now in terms of the new high, but the liquidity is a lot better, and they're like the same price stock. So that's where I'll say, hey, maybe if you're like more level 2 to 3 in that case, like level even 1 to 3, and Neo wouldn't be a bad stock to watch, a more expensive one at least. AFA Pop says Wendy. Trying to squeeze up. I like the buying that came in, likely off the 2350 level. So I appreciate that. Let's just check in with the sector. MJ pot stock ET or pot sector ETF. Not really making that push up just yet. So AFA's great side list stock, Wendy. If you did really well on it earlier yourself, that's where I'd say probably, you put that on your main watch list yourself. Check in with Tilray. Yeah, Tilray is pretty weak right now. It's kind of making the same move as MJ. Taz with the CLNE. Nah, just too flat. Off 18, it was a much better call out from the late morning. I was calling that out off 18, but it died off pretty early. It's like kind of near the highs across the day. So in that regard, yeah. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm just being pessimistic based on the pre-market high here because it doesn't look like it made that sharp of a jump. It's up 4+%. I bet you if I do a little of this and just show this more, intraday run, that looks more appealing. I kind of had it zoomed out, so it's like, oh, wow, like there's a lot of pre-market activity all the way from 1950. Well, what if it breaks this high of the day here? That actually is a really good setup. So you know what? I'm talking myself into putting the CLNE on our main list. It's got to break higher, though. The GSAT from the side list. How about that? I told you folks I'd check in with that just at the end. I wanted to see what you folks had for me first. But you're telling me that this is popping. So yeah, this looks great right now. So that's why we kind of put this on the back burner for the meantime. And we said we were going to check back in with it at the end. So great call. Hopefully it doesn't just die down now. I'm going to cross my fingers on that. Greg and Toko both saying the NVCN trade making a new high of the day. Really nice run. Wow. Taking off beautifully from 2. Looks like a Fausto flag kind of there. Off 2, just squeezed up with higher lows, teasing that 2 breakout, then finally paid off. So great call. Yeah, I mean, this NVCN looks great here. Did I miss anything here from the Cyber Group room? QS, I know that's a little expensive. I'm just going to pass on that, Jerry. All right, I'll check in on Uber. Also expensive, but just wanted to see if that was going to like suddenly pop back up, right? Doesn't look like it is just yet. So keep Uber in mind on a swing trade. Definitely tomorrow if there's more momentum to see it really make a sharp day run for us to capitalize on. All right, folks. So I think that just about does it. You know what? Actually, really quick, I will check back in because I'm a sucker for Riot and Mara. So Mara did pull back down, had an ugly shake, but starting to push back up a bit here. Check out Riot for right now. Trying to jump back up through 41. So should it kind of make this strong push through 41? It's like teasing it. Hasn't really like cleanly popped from 41 just yet. I mean, the spreads really are pretty wide and fluctuating on this. So I'd be really careful trading this regardless. But hopefully Bitcoin holds. Hopefully Riot makes a higher low and pushes up much higher. I mean, closer towards that 48. I doubt it will get there by the end of the day today. I mean, if it does, God bless. But we'll see. POWW at the buzzer here from Joe, our last one before we wrap up. He says, rinse and repeat. Not a lot of volume being traded per minute on this, Joe. It's within our price range, and the spreads aren't too bad. Liquidity isn't too bad either on the book, but there's like no direction with this right now. So hopefully later it pops for you. Just for right now, we're going to kind of keep this on the side too. All right, folks, so I think that just about does it. So all in all, I think that we have 7 stocks in total. We got the Neo, the Riot, the Blink. So all 3 of those pretty expensive. But after those, we have some, inexpensive ones. We have the Mogo stock. We have CLNE off of the highs there, 775. We have the GSAT, a real cheapie. Alongside that, the NVCN. So there's a lot to go around to begin. And then with that, folks, just if there's any stocks that can move with the market higher into the afternoon or any other stocks coming up on our radar off of news, we'll be there to call it out. But as always, though, start and stick with this list to begin and go from there. All right, for all of us in social media, Facebook Live and YouTube, just another quick reminder. I brought this up yesterday just to begin. So, I'll keep announcing this throughout the week for anyone that's just kind of joining us intermittently. Next Tuesday, we are going to be doing our Traders Talk workshop that is always hosted. I mean, it will still be hosted inside the Cyber Group room. So no sweat to anybody live in the trading room right now. You'll stay put next week, next Tuesday. But, once, and we'll do this like every 3 times a year or so. We'll host on social media on YouTube Live. So just keep that in mind going into next week. I'll keep addressing that going forward throughout the next few days. All right, just make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel. That is, as always, especially with that in mind. So you'll get the bell, the notification to know when we're going live officially that Tuesday. So that's at youtube.com/cybertradingu. But as always, feel free to join us Monday to Friday right here in the Cyber Group room. For all of us live right now, I know that Rich is going to jump on for a few minutes himself. I'm going to jump back on myself at 3:30, taking you into the final 30 minutes. All right, folks, talk to you soon. Take care.